about a lot at Roblox, which is the future of communication. That future of communication is composed of immersive 3D simulated communication, where we're represented by an avatar, where our avatar isn't just static. It can do things together. We can play hide and go seek. We can go to school. We can simulate that we're in the Roblox office. And ultimately, a Roblox avatar that feels really realistic and close and near and dear to what we're doing. So hang on for a technical product roller coaster ride as we touch on all of this. But before we dive in, first, maybe just like quick background. First, Mahesh and Karan, how did we meet?
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic phase, where we had a meeting outside in a safe environment, where we got to hang out with you and talk about the vision of avatars in 3D. This was when Mahesh and I had our startup Loom AI, and that meeting changed the course of our interactions with you and with the company.
Yeah, we were looking at digital avatars, expressiveness, personalization, but for an image-based or video-based communication setup. And we were always dreaming about shared 3D spaces when we met you. And boom, magic. We were like, wow.
It was somewhat magical. The magic I remember. Effie, how did we meet?
I have an interesting story.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, Manuel moved to Roblox, and I've worked with Manuel for several years at Google, and I was curious about, what is Roblox? And I started listening to Tech Talk podcasts.
This podcast.
This podcast. The first podcast I listened to.
That's kind of recursive, right?
You're right.
Like the thing that brought you here, you're doing right now.
Yeah, and as Mahesh and Karan introduced themselves, it's basically the same podcast as what I listened to 2 years ago, and it was Karan and you talking about avatars and AI and how the AI tech could help people express themselves. And to me, I felt like I spiritually met you through your vision, and I was sold. Like, here I am.
Okay, well, there's probably going to be thousands of people that are spiritually meeting you after this goes live. And so we're probably going to have a lot more people being recruited, not just because of me, but because of this group today. So, okay, so we're going to take a step back and talk about the history of communication. We've shared this at RDC, the notion that people are always trying to figure out a way to be together at a distance if they can. And we've seen this with smoke signals. Mm-hmm. We've seen this with the mail system. We've seen this with the telegraph system. We've seen this with the phone system. In the midst of COVID, of course, we saw this in video. And at Roblox, I think we feel there's one more step here. And that is the step where we can recreate not just a video screen, but a 3D situation that can work on any device, phone, tablet, computer, VR, headset. And it's not just that we can be to communicate, but once we put people in 3D simulated environments, there's a lot more things we can do. We can have meetings like this where we look around and see who we're looking at, which is a lot more immersive than that video screen. Like we said, we can play hide and go seek, and we could get up and run away from here, which we can't do on a Zoom call. And then something really interesting we'll talk about is communication and serendipitous communication as we get that. So when we think about this, that seems like a lot. Some of us have seen Star Trek and the holodeck. Some of us imagine this working on a phone. Sometimes this will work in the holodeck. But there's various components of this. And those components include everyone has a great avatar. That avatar more and more can be simulated at high speed. We can move around and that we can communicate. And so we're going to kind of break this whole problem down and talk about all the pieces. And then hopefully when they come together, everyone's going to imagine, okay, if we have all those pieces, we're going to see it. And so we'll start with great avatars. And it's interesting, when we first met and we were looking at avatars, our avatars were very constrained almost in a certain where any avatar
with my niece somewhere in Indonesia, and then we can build shoes together, and you can buy our shoes, and then it's beyond what's possible physically. I know.
Hi, I'm Dave Bazuki, founder and CEO at Roblox, and you're listening to Tech Talks. Today I'm joined by special guest Brooks Evans, Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer.